All right, it's that time in algebra where we're going to be multiplying polynomials together. In this specific problem, we got a binomial multiplied by a three-termed trinomial. So one thing I want to go over before we start this is back when we were multiplying 5 times 2 terms, like that, we used this thing called the distributive property. 5 had to distribute to the x and to the 3. Had to multiply by both terms. The difference here with what we're dealing with now, polynomials, is we're not just taking this term of negative or opposite w and multiplying it by all 3, but we also have to take the value of 2 and multiply it by all 3 of these terms as well. So the way that I like to do it, I tell kids to just draw their rainbow lines, make sure they use all 6 of the lines in this one. So 2 times this, 2 times that, and 2 times that. So that's 3 rainbows drawn. Then I take opposite of w, and underneath I just go 1, 2, and 3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just double check and make sure I do each one of the multiplication problems that I need to do. I did 3 lines up top, 3 lines on bottom. That's going to provide me with 6 terms that if I have any like terms, I'll add or combine them together at the end. All right, let's break it down. 2 times 3 makes 6 with a w squared. 2 times w is going to be 2w. 2 times 1 is going to give me 2. There's my first 3 terms that came from this 2 distributing to all 3 of the terms in the trinomial. Now I got to take the opposite of w, multiply it by this term, and that term. We're going to do it one at a time. So a negative times a positive is a negative. There's a 1 in front of the w. And there's also a 1 right above it. We have to understand when we have a variable with no exponent shown, there's always a 1 there. Okay, so negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. W to the first times w to the second. Remember, we add our exponents, so we're going to get w to the third. Negative 1 times positive 1. Remember, there's a 1 in front of that w. Negative times a positive is a negative. 1 times 1 is 1. W to the first and W to the, what number's right there? Remember over here we didn't show it? If we have nothing there, there's 1s. So those 1s combine to make W squared. And then last but not least, we've got a negative 1 and a positive 1. Negative times a positive is a negative. 1 times 1 is going to give me 1. And I still have that W attached, so it's just going to be a W. Now when I look at my terms here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms because I distributed 3 times with 2 and 3 times with opposite of w. I look at these terms and a couple of them stand out to me. I'm going to underline that in blue and that in blue. And I bet you could probably figure out why. What stands out about 6w squared and negative w squared? They're both terms that have the same variable, w, and the same exponent of 2. Those are what we call like terms, meaning we can combine them. 6 minus 1 would give me 5w squared. Now, I've used this. Got a lot going on, so I like to just X them out so I know what's left. Ooh, we've got a positive 2w, I'll squiggly line underneath that, and a negative or opposite of w. Both of these are w terms. They're like terms, meaning we can combine them, put them together. So a positive 2 minus 1, that's going to leave me with just 1 left. So I got positive 1w left over there. I've used this, combined them all together. These 2 terms did not have anything that were like them, so they stay as they are. We're going to put the positive 2 on the far right. The constant should always go on the far right. And then the highest exponent should be on the far left. So I just used the 2 right there. Negative 3w cubed. Negative 3w cubed goes all the way to the left. This 5w squared came from 2w, or excuse me, it came from the 6w squared minus 1, so it was a positive 5. Put a plus in. And here's our final result. We got a polynomial. Negative 3w cubed plus 5w squared plus w plus 2 would be our product after multiplying the binomial times the trinomial. This is written in standard form because our exponents are high to low, 3, 2, 1. And that is how it's done. Study hard and good luck on your upcoming test.